Okay, great scholars, let us deal with change of formula today. Change of formula. Change of formula. In your previous class, I've mentioned to you that a formula is simply an equation that is standard in its variables. The variables are standards. They are well defined. They are specific. Such equation is called a formula. And I gave an example of that of a circle. Area is equal to pi r squared. Area is equal to pi r squared. Now let me use this to start in my change of formula. At this particular time, A is the subject of the formula. So in your change of formula, you'll be making one particular variable the subject of the formula. You'll be making a particular variable the subject of the formula. Now in this particular formula here, area is equal to pi r squared. Area A is the subject of the formula. So let us see if we can make radius also the subject of the formula. If you're making a particular variable the subject of the formula, as I'm standing this way right now, that particular variable should always be at the right hand side. As I'm standing talking to you right now, the variable should always be at the right hand side. Look where you have the A standing. But if you're facing this way, the variable should always be at the left hand side. This is it. Good. So based on how you're facing, but whatever the case may be, your subject of the formula should always be at this side equating the other variables. Not at this side equating this way. No. Should always be at this side facing the other variables. Now, where A is right now. So A is the subject of this formula. Let us see if we can make arrow the subject of the formula. And I'll be careful to explaining this to you. Let's say should make arrow the subject. Make arrow the subject. Solution. You have A is equal to pi r squared. We want to make arrow the subject. What do we do? Make arrow the subject. Make arrow the subject. How do we go about this? You'll be careful to think, how do I take arrow to this other side? I will think quickly. Recall that 2 plus 3 is also equal to 3 plus 2. If that is true, so if A is equal to pi r squared, then pi r squared is also equal to A. This is true. If A is equal to pi r squared, then pi r squared is equal to A. Now I have my r squared at the place where A was before. Now, r squared is what we have here, but I am asked to look for arrow. And something is attached to arrow, like a barrier to arrow. There are two things there attached to arrow as a barrier. One is the pi, one is the power. One is the pi, one is the power. Now I will carefully remove those barriers from arrow so that arrow can stand perfectly. I'm going to start with pi. Take out the pi. What do you do? Take out the pi. If pi is going to the other part of the equation, since here is times pi times r squared, if it's going to the other part of the equation, it becomes division. It becomes division. Or you can say divide both sides by pi. Divide both sides by pi. Remember, you've been taught inverses in your previous classes. You've been taught inverses in your previous classes. I want to take this pi to the other part of the equation. If I am to do that, if pi should live here to the other part of the equation, since at this part it is multiplication, at the other part it will become division. So that would be r squared is equal to A divided by pi. Or you can simply say from pi r squared is equal to A, you can say divide both sides by pi. That will be pi r square. Pi r square is equal to a over pi over pi. So this pi cancel this pi. You have r square alone left, which is equal to a over pi in that manner. Now we have removed one of the barrier. We are left now with the power 2 barrier. You've been taught inverses of powers and inverses of roots in your previous classes. So we are going to apply now the inverse of power 2 is square root. The inverse of power 2 is square root. So if I'm taking this power 2 to the other part of the equation, it becomes r is equal to the square root of a all over pi. This is the final result. So we have been able to make r the subject of the relation. We have been able to make r the subject of the relation. If you have UA plus T is equal to P, and I said make A the subject. Make A the subject. Make A the subject. How it is given to you. You have to make A the subject. You carefully remove the barriers that you have attached to the side of A. First, you have plus T attached to A, and you have U attached to A. But you want to find A, you want to make A the subject of the formula. You're actually looking for A. You want to actually find A. That is what it's all about. To make A the subject of the formula, you are actually looking for A. To do that, solution. You have UA plus T is equal to P. I'm going to take out this plus T to the other part for UA to stand alone first, so it will be easier for me to deal with that. Whenever you have plus or minus times division in a particular operation, always deal with the plus or the minus first before you start talking about multiplication or division. Please note that, very important. So I will take out the plus to the other side. So I'll be having UA is equal to P. If plus T leaves, it becomes its inverse. That will be minus T. Okay, if that is true, now I have U and A standing alone. Now how do I make A to stand and let U leave? Since U is attached to A by times, it will go to the other place and it will become division. It will become division, or you can simply say to yourself, divide both sides by U. Divide both sides by U. If you divide both sides by U, let me write down, divide both sides by U, that will be UA over U is equal to P minus T all over U. Please note that the division sign on this side should not only be at the part of P, it should cover the two letters P and T. So this A cancels out, this U cancels out, you have A is equal to P minus T all over U. This is the final result. So in change of formula, you should be careful. In change of formula, you should be careful, or trying to make a particular letter the subject of the relation. You should be careful in doing that. All the operations we have dealt with, how to make use of your signs, inverses, powers, and roots, they are all applied in change of formula. So you should carefully go with that. You do this one for me. Let me see. Do the following. Do the following. You have C is equal to 2 pi arrow. You have to make arrow the subject. That's number 1. Number 2, you have V is equal to U plus AT. You have to make T the subject. Make T the subject. 3, you have A is equal to LB. You have to make L the subject. So carefully go through this. And get the best out from it. Change of formula. It's simple. Deal with that, and I'll see you in your next class. Thank you.